Everybody, the Tri-Lakes Management District meeting for Wednesday, February 19th, 2025 at 9 a.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Number 2, Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number 3, roll call, starting from my left.
Gabriel here.
Asdell here.
Baker.
And Mr. Brad is out of town. Number 4, please certify posting of the meeting agenda, please.
The agenda was posted on February 17th, Monday, Daily Tribune, 3:26 p.m., Town Hall, 4:35, Nakusa Port Edward State Bank, 4:29, and Quick Trip at 4:40. And that's it.
Thank you. Number 5, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried. Number 6, electric comments. Do we have any cards?
None.
No action contemplated except possible referral to future agenda, information updates, meeting recaps, current events, and announcements. Tom, do you have anything?
I have nothing new.
Mike?
No.
Mark?
Oh, just to let everybody know, last night I was appointed to the Adams County Board, thanks to Mike Baker, who kind of pushed me a little bit. And I'm responsible for District 18, which covers part of Tri-Lakes. Just to let everybody know.
I'm not really going to accept any blame for that.
All right. We got just a couple things. Thoughts to have the local high schools paint murals on the side of the containers. Just not making decisions right now, just thought about it. Contact Nakusa and Assumption, maybe in Rapids, and see what they have in mind. We could probably get donations for it, but I think we can supply the paint and see what else they need, and we'll go from there. So just want to put it in everybody's mind. We'll talk about it maybe the next meeting. They can't do anything now until the weather clears anyhow. So, and then just a reminder, the Wisconsin Lake Show is March 23rd to the 28th. Moelier will have a booth there. They're telling me they're going to have 5 people there. So they're putting an all-out effort into this.
Where's the Wisconsin Lake Show, Carl?
That'll be from Stevens Point
Thank you.
at the
Holiday Inn.
Holiday Inn there, yep.
And I think
Did you want to go?
No, I was just curious where it was and for other
I
people
think
to
the
know.
dates, Carl, are the 26th through the 28th, not the
It is,
23rd.
you are correct, it is 26. Fat fingers
you-
here.
Did you sign yourself and me?
Regina took
Yep.
care of us, yep. We're
Did
up.
I
We have to-
email you the confirmation paperwork?
No.
No.
I haven't got it.
I swear I did. Okay.
Because we have to sign up for classes, right?
If you want to go to any, I didn't take any,
I want to see what the agenda is.
yeah. Well, yeah, some of it applies to us, some doesn't. I
Yeah.
mean, Last year, Bill O'Connor, I did sneak in on his. I didn't pay for it, I snuck in, though. Don't tell anybody, please. I had a long talk. He used to be our attorney, and he's going to be on the agenda here, too, so. Okay, we have EOR discussion of the June-October testing. Can you hear me, Jay? Jay?
Yes.
Okay, you're up. If we have questions, we'll have to come over here and scream at you, but go ahead, you're on.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. We wanted to update you today on all of our data crunching that we've been doing for the last couple of months. There's a significant amount of it that's going on after a season of monitoring. We have Ann Wilkinson, our limnologist and PhD, with us this morning to kind of take us down the next steps of the data crunching, and I'll just turn it over to Ann. Ann?
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to share my screen. I have a brief presentation to show you some of the data we've been working on. Can everybody see that? Okay.
Yes.
Today, I'm going to be giving an update of the 2024 monitoring, specifically looking at the dissolved oxygen data. So just a quick reminder, we had 2 sites that we were looking at on Camelot. We have 12 sites we were looking at on Sherwood, and then 1 site on Arrowhead. And these are all the parameters we looked at, and today we're going to talk specifically about our oxygen data. And we're going to look at the dissolved oxygen profiles that we took. So this is when we would go out bi-weekly and look at dissolved oxygen in each of our monitoring sites every half a meter from the surface to the bottom. And then we're also going to look at the dissolved oxygen data that we got from those 5 high-frequency buoys that were out on the lake in 5 of the bays. And the purpose of this is to compare both the dissolved oxygen profiles pre- and post-treatment, and to compare long-term high-frequency buoy data trends as well. The goals for the nanobubble treatment are to increase the dissolved oxygen through the water column, and in order to promote digestion of aerobic digestion of sediments, and also suppress any internal load that could be coming from low oxygen conditions, from release of phosphorus from the sediments, and overall decreased periods of anoxia. So these are the plots that I'm going to be presenting through the different lakes, so I'll take a little time to orient you to what this is. The plot that's the different colors is our time series, and then we have a map down here. So this first time series plot is looking at dissolved oxygen over time, and then the different colors denote different months. And then the different plots are, the first one is for the 8th Avenue site, so that's this site here in the eastern side of the lake, right next to 8th Avenue Bridge, and then the Camelot Control Site, which is the star down here at the bottom. And so we can see that there's a lot of oscillations of the dissolved oxygen. Essentially, what's happening is we're observing the dissolved oxygen dynamics of photosynthesis within the water column, which is pretty cool to see. So how this works is that photosynthetic organisms in the water, that's plants and algae, they produce a lot of oxygen when the light is out, when the sun is out, and so that they can fuel their metabolism. And then they actually reverse that metabolism, and when it's dark outside, they actually take up that oxygen out of the water column. So I'll show this a little bit more clearly in the next couple slides, but we'll see kind of these peaks during the day when the sun is out, and then dips during the night as the plants and algae take up oxygen out of the water. And we're able to resolve that with our buoys because they're taking measurements every 15 minutes. So that's pretty exciting and cool to see. This red dotted line represents 5 milligrams per liter of dissolved oxygen, and that kind of represents low dissolved oxygen levels, especially when we think about fish and stress on those. And you'll see that red line denoted on these time series, and then also on our profiles. So to the side here, we have these 2 other plots. These show the dissolved oxygen profiles that we took every 2 weeks. So we can see here on the y-axis is the depth in meters, and and each of these points represents a sample that we took per profile. So we took those every half a meter. And then the x-axis represents the dissolved oxygen. So lower dissolved oxygen is closer to the y-axis, and higher dissolved oxygen is closer to the other side of the plot. When we look at these, what we're looking for is to see what the dissolved oxygen dynamics look like throughout the water column. So is there high dissolved oxygen through the entire water column? That will look like a straight line. Is there stratification of dissolved oxygen where we have higher dissolved oxygen in the surface where we can have gas exchange with the air, and then lower dissolved oxygen as we go deeper into the water column? And right now we can kind of see for 8th Avenue, it seems pretty well mixed, with some dates being more stratified than others. This is kind of showing a very dynamic system. And then similarly with Camelot, we can see lots of periods of well mixed dissolved oxygen in the water column, and some periods, like this blue line which represents July, has a more stratified dissolved oxygen. And so what this kind of tells us is that if we have a well-mixed condition, then we can kind of rely on what the buoy data is seeing. It's representing the entire water column. However, when there's stratified conditions, we're seeing some lower dissolved oxygen near the sediments. So that's for Camelot data. Sherwood, we have 2 buoys there as well. They're represented by Bay 2 and the control bay. And so we can also see similarly with these buoy data sets that we're seeing those diurnal samples, but the dissolved oxygen is staying high near the surface of the water. And then this is all the bay data that we have. As you can see, similarly with Camelot, there is a lot of variability amongst bays. In general, the deeper bays are showing more of that stratification, at least some of the time. But the shallower bays, as we would expect, are more well mixed. And then there are some temporal dynamics. So there are short periods of dissolved oxygen stratification, and they're not necessarily predictive of each bay being stratified at the same time. So it's really interesting that we're getting such diversity in all these different bays, and I think that meets the observations we have with all the other water chemistry, is that all these bays are kind of behaving differently. And then this is Arrowhead. Arrowhead is much more shallow, and so it's not showing a lot of stratification there, and we can see kind of these peaks of dissolved oxygen as we're seeing more algae grow, and then we can see these diurnal oscillations as well. That's really interesting. So this is a plot of what it looks like per time of day for each month. So we took all the data for each site, and we binned it at different hours of day. So what you're looking at here, each plot represents a different buoy. It's a time series, and the dissolved oxygen is on the y-axis, and then the x-axis is actually hours of the day. So it's going from midnight until 11 p.m. And then these these yellow blocks are when the sunlight is out. And we can see that the dissolved oxygen is peaking while the sun is out, and then dipping back down when the sun is not out. So we were able to observe those diurnal oscillations, which is pretty cool. So the key takeaways are that dissolved oxygen profiles are pretty different amongst different bays. In general, the deeper bays show stratification at least some of the time, but they're very dynamic in their mixing regimes. And so, and then we are able to resolve those diurnal peaks of dissolved oxygen from the photosynthetic organisms within the water column. I wanted to give you an idea of what this will look like on the website. So we're going to post all of this data to be uploaded to the website, and it's going to be really important when we use it to look at pre- and post-treatment data. So we will have these panels of these different buoy data time series, and that will look like this, and we'll start to add in the post-treatment data, so you'll be able to see any changes that are happening With the post-treatment data, we'll also have panels of our dissolved oxygen and temperature profiles. But then the kind of cool thing is we'll also have a map that you can select different locations if you're particularly interested in one or another. And then you can kind of toggle through the data that's available for those. So this one, we've clicked on Arrowhead Marina, and you can see what the dissolved oxygen profile looks like, and we'll have different data there that you can toggle through to look at if you're just interested in one of the bays. And then we'll be able to update these with the post-treatment data as it's coming in, so we can observe any changes after the treatment has been completed. So that's what that's going to look like on the website. The next steps are for me to present all of the other water chemistry, I think most interestingly, the nutrients on the March meeting next month. We're going to complete the permitting process, complete the data analysis with that water chemistry. That'll be ready for that post-treatment comparison, and then hopefully begin treatment in the spring. And that's all I have today.
Anybody
I can
have
take any
any?
questions if there are any in the room.
Ann, 1 second. So the boys this year will be monitoring in the same locations as they were this last year?
You have a website, or is it our website?
I don't know. Find out.
Ann? Oh, boy, we lost her. Ann, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. The monitoring buoys will be in the same locations this year as they were last year, near the units, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so your expectations are that the variance on the DO will be decreasing over time, we're hoping?
That's
Go ahead.
That's correct.
Okay, that's what we experienced at the marina then, something like that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Dampening of those oscillations.
Okay, good.
Carl,
Any questions?
you ask, and where, which website are they going to
Ours
dump?
or-
Ours or theirs?
The graphs, are they going to be put on your website, or can we put them on ours as well?
We're expecting to be on your website.
Oh,
Okay.
very good, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Anything for Jay or Ann? Ann, thank you, appreciate it. Jay, thanks. Do you have anything else, Jay?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Can you just ask him, Carl, where are we in the permitting process? I mean, do we have all the permits that we need for
No.
to start with?
Where are we at in the permitting process? Are you waiting on anything from us?
We're good with you. I'm waiting on some stuff from Chris.
Okay. Do we need to call Chris?
I'm hoping to be hearing from him yet today.
All right, okay, let me know if you have an issue. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds good. See you later.
Take care, bye-bye.
Thank you. See you next month.
Thanks, Ann. Okay. Number 9, 14-Mile Watershed Alliance. Dave, you got anything?
Couple things to share.
You want to go up to the, or take it with you, that's fine too.
Okay, I've just got a couple things to share. I'm kind of tying up, slow season finally, if you can call it that, tying up some loose ends with grants. We're working on a interpretive sign for the Weldon Park restoration, on the Camelot erosion control restoration grant there by the lodge. And we're pulling together a plant list for that. There are bio bags there that need to have plants put into them. The main thing I want to make sure Carl's aware of is I have 2 or 3 people that are interested in Healthy Lakes grants. They've been really slow in getting paperwork back to me, so this was something I wanted to have submitted about last November. So to kind of speed things along rather than go through the normal application process, we can do what they call a change of scope, where I've had a couple people drop out of the grant back in 2022 that went through Tri-Lakes. And we've also got a 2-year extension on that grant going till December of 2026. So what I want to do is just do this change of scope, substitute three or four projects for the ones that have dropped out. There's money there waiting to be spent. So I expect to finish that this week, get it to Carl for signature next week, and then have Gina submit it electronically.
If you got it done this week, I'll sign it. Just give me a holler. I know what it's like getting the people in there. It took forever to get the last 2 signatures on the agreements, but finally, yeah, it takes a while.
Yep.
Thanks, Dave. Oh, yeah. Harvester update, anything?
Yeah, our harvester number 5 is completed. Inland had finished all the repairs to the machine, and they have agreed to hold that machine in their property until such time as we're ready to be able to have them deliver back to us. We get rid of the snow and we start working on things at the shop, then we'll have it delivered. The skidster is also been completed, and we're working on getting a delivery date set up for that. And then the only other thing is our radio license expires in November of 25. And so I talked to the town administrator here about licensing for radios, and we had gotten some information from a company called Business Licensing Fee, and he indicated that this is a company that's just trying to get our business, and it would cost us more than if we had our radio company do the application themselves. So I'm going to be contacting the radio company to see if they'll assist me in submitting a new application or renewing the application, or if they'll do it so that we have our radio license in place for the next 10 years. And it'll be it.
Is that through the FCC?
Yes.
You can go through direct on that. I have a FCC license, radio license.
Okay.
You can do it direct. I don't think you need to go through somebody. We'll check into it.
Now that you mentioned that, Mike, I do think that the place that we get our radios from does do it with us, for us in the past.
Okay.
Now
I'll
that
check
you
with
say
them.
that, yeah.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Number 11, district update. Regina,
I am.
microphone, please.
Oh, sorry.
You were doing good there.
Okay, I will be beginning work on creating the list or updating the list of who is due to be inspected for this year, and then the letters will go out in the next month.
Okay.
So,
One other thing, on the website, I was looking the other day, I see our budget's on there, but it's 2024. Can you update that to the 2025 budget on the website?
budget 2025 update.
And one of our property owners here, Pat Rogers, she's been very helpful in a lot of areas with us on a lot of things. One thing was the char bags, and she bought 30 of them last year, and EOR is going through the data now to try and figure out what they were doing. Initial data did say they collected nitrates out of the water. It wasn't a huge amount, but they were only in for 30 days. So we'll hopefully have an update on that soon. So, okay, number 12, county. Heather.
All right, so really excited to continue working with Pat. Speaking of biochar, that's on my list of items to connect with you on. So I am currently working on a biochar implementation grant through Sand County Foundation. It is a grant to also support the producer-led watershed pools of money. So that's with the current some of the USDA government freezes. I was looking at some more innovation grants, but those funds are currently frozen. So I had to get creative and look at some other potential opportunities for funding and looking to support farmers in implementing biochar in the landscape. So what that would look like is, with partnerships with lake groups, working with our foresters. So looking at, pulp, so if pulp prices are not real great right now, can we be using some of that biomass in those managed forest lands to create biochar? That would then create a more system approach to improve soil quality here in Central Sands. And, retention, nutrient retention, all of the wonderful benefits of biochar. I do have a recording of that session. And I know Phil is also shared that as well within the 14-mile watershed line. So thank you if you're interested in learning more about biochar. We had a speaker last month that was excellent and really gave us an in-depth overview of it, and I can share more information on that. We have our producer-led watershed group annual workshop next week on the 25th. So that's where all the producer-led watershed groups across the state of Wisconsin come together. They meet, listen to speakers, they connect with each other, and then the following day is going to be our next Farmers of 14 Mile Creek meeting. So Greg Sager, our lead farmer for Farmers of 14 Mile, he'll be at that annual workshop. So then he'll come and he'll speak to the rest of the group about what he learned, connections he made, sort of next steps for the group. One of the practices, the best management practices that came up in the group that was of interest are some of the edge of field practices and implementing buffers. Looking at habitat, potentially for pheasants and game birds. So we're going to have more conversation on that and figure out what practices are going to work for the farmers to improve water quality across the watershed. Going to continue building those partnerships. I have couple meetings this week with UW Stevens Point. So I'll be meeting with Kevin and Scott and looking at how we can use some of the tools that Kevin and his lab have put together around the groundwater monitoring, the nitrogen calculator. Just really, those were really great tools, and getting farmers trained to, and supporting them in using those tools on their farms, and just continuing to build those relationships. And then before that meeting, I'll be meeting with the director of forestry at Stevens Point, also on that biochar topic. So we really want to have continued working relationships with the universities, since they have the grad students, the boots on the ground to help us with this data collection that we need for all these different practices we're trying to implement. I know you've expressed a need for data and sampling. So I think the more we can tap into our universities and higher education institutions, the better. Same with UW Extension. So I've been attending Guolong's sessions on nitrate leaching. He's got some really wonderful work, and Stephen Hall, Natasha Paris, they're just really excellent regional educators that are doing some really great work. So that's what I got for my report. Any questions for me or anything that you would like to express? Yeah.
You talked about two meetings on our 25th and 26th of this month. Where are those going to be held at?
The one on the 25th will be held at the Food Farm Exploration Center. That's the all-day producer-led annual workshop. And then the Farmers of 14 Mile Creek will be meeting at Heartland Farms again. And we'll have a meeting followed by a light lunch. I know that I think some local conservation educators will be coming and attending, hoping to get some folks from Extension there as well, just to make sure that farmers get to meet our Extension people that are working in the area.
And the one at Heartland Farms, what time does that one start?
That'll be at 11 a.m. And then it kind of goes until it goes. We've got the conference room booked for a couple hours. So if we get into a robust conversation around best management practices, definitely going to allow that conversation to continue.
Mike, what date for the Heartland Farms?
The 26th of...
Are you going to the Wisconsin Lakes Conference?
Yes, so in March, I'll be actually on the panel with Scott Bordeaux. We're going to be speaking to the Lakes group. So there's a field trip that's at the Food Farm Exploration Center that's part of that conference. So the Wisconsin Lakes and Rivers Conference, which is held at Stevens Point, they have some breakout sessions, and one of the breakout sessions is geared specifically towards for lakes groups, so engaged citizens that are working around water quality. And I'll be talking on the panel with Scott Bordeaux. We're going to talk about our continued relationship between farmers of the Roche Cree and packers, and sort of what that's looked like over the last 5 years. We're going in our 6th year, and we've got a total. We have 45 active stakeholders in the farmers of the Roche Cree. I want to say 18. It's either 16 or 18. Don't quote me on that. I didn't write it down. Farmers, and then the rest are regional educators, leadership in the lakes groups. But total, we have 45 pretty regular either attendees or active participants that come to our field days. And a goal for that group is to get to 50. So would like to see the same thing happen for farmers of 14 Mile Creek. Just this, we've got 6 producers. Love to see that turn into maybe 12 producers, right, next year, and just keep engaging more. We do have some of the other larger producers in the area that are planning on coming next week. So I've been reaching out personally to them with just those personal contacts, and it'll be great to engage them. Oh, and then McCain Foods is also on my list of people to engage with. So they've got some grant money to support farmers and implementing regenerative practices. So they've got some goals at a corporate level to do business with regenerative farmers. So farmers who are implementing cover crops or implementing these practices, that's who they want to do business with. And so they've got some goals, and there's hopefully some really great synergy of how we can support these companies who are doing business with the farmers. Okay, how can we all get on the same page around regenerative ag? And so I'm very hopeful, very excited for those conversations as well.
And your discussions up at UW Stevens Point, have you talked to Jay? He's been looking for help for us down here, so spread the word.
I think Jay and I should, probably reconnect. I'd be really great to connect with him and Kevin. Maybe we can sit down and figure out who are some folks that in the area that are local, and if there's some grad students who are interested in this monitoring the lake and the water quality, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions for Heather? Thank you.
Thank
You've
you.
done more in how many months? 6 months? Unbelievable.
Well, and I have such a short window. I know this position schedule, I think that around August is kind of the sunset. I mean, I think it'll go to September for sure, maybe beginning of September. So we're looking, Scott's going to look at staffing grants. We're going to talk about staffing grants
Right.
potentially at a Portage and Waushara County, since a lot of when we're looking at the data, so looking at Kevin's groundwater data, just regionally, where should I really be focusing on the nutrient loading? So where is the majority of the nutrient loading coming from? And that's sort of, if it ends up being majority of the nutrient loading is, say, out of Portage or out of Waushara, that's probably where I should be and really leaning into those regions. So that's what we're going to talk about on Friday, and just create okay, I've got this much time. What are the deliverables in this much time? What can I do, in this much time? And then sort of next steps of to continue, keep the momentum going, and where's the best area I should be focusing on to help with this particular region.
Okay. Anybody else? Any questions? Thank you, Heather.
Thanks, Rob.
Appreciate it. All right. Town update?
I have nothing new at this point.
Can I just mention one thing for the county, Carl?
Sure.
The Land and Water Annual Report is out from the county. It was done by Colton Walasik, and I just want to say that he did a really outstanding job on preparing this and putting it together, and so it's available on the county website if anybody's interested in taking a look at that.
Can we reprint it on our site?
I can check it, but I think you probably could.
Okay, if you would, yeah. And number 14, discussion of grant opportunities. Just want to bring everybody's attention. Grants they're out there still. I know there's been a lot of curtailment, but there was a whole crapload, of federal grants. I think they're maybe on pause now, but there's still some available. There's a lot of private opportunities out there too. So we want to keep Heather going. We want to help ourselves here on things. So if you can, just start looking for grants anywhere, and we'll see what we can get. Help Dave out too. So there's really all ahead in that one. Discussion of possible action on the following items. Number 15, approved minutes from Wednesday, January 15th, 2025. Can I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor, please signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Number 16, approve vouchers and financials. At this point, we only have the vouchers. We'll get the emailed out on the financials once they're available.
I have a question.
Sure.
On the Kerber Rose bill,
Yeah.
I went back and looked at several months prior, or the end of the 2024, and the bills were typically anywhere from $200 to $800 and some dollars. The bill in January was $2,400. Can you fill me in as to why there was such an excessive amount for January?
Yeah, she was helping us out on the closing and also redoing our books for the year-end audit. So she spent quite a bit of time on the whole process there. Regina was on the phone with her somewhat period of time, and we had a few questions for her and help us get cleared up on things. So she did a lot of pre-work for the audit, hopefully to get it straight. I shouldn't say straight, hopefully to get it clear for Kevin so he can just zip through it. So
Thank you.
other than that, he's been doing is he done with it? He is done with it, right?
Yes, but he put like a little codicil on it that he must still be doing a little work on it because
Okay.
he gave me the journal entries to change, but he said he may be adding some things to that. So, once he's finished, he has those booklets printed out and sends them to me to distribute to the board.
Right.
So that's truly when it is ended.
Okay, thank you. Number 17, discussing possible action on dam monitoring. Alex approached us about going over the numbers again, going back to, 2022, so we're gonna do some research on that and see what's what against the contracts, but,
Well, he sent an email. I got a copy of it. I think you got a copy of it. He went back to 2020. He says that Tri-Lakes owes him a couple $1,000.
Yeah.
In back pay. I'd like to know what that's all about.
yeah, we're gonna have to look at the contracts, we're gonna have to look at what was pay out. Again, the maximum that goes out of this office is the 10,000 that we get from the county. And as I understand it with those contracts, and they're kind of roughly written, any excess would go back to him. But again, the way they were covering his salary, if he wasn't working, somebody else was, and that the other person got paid out of his salary. So we're gonna have to look at all that and just do a timeline for each year. I don't know.
Yesterday I did one to look at what we paid him for the year, and with the $1,000 incentive check, it goes just under $100 over, I think. I'd have to look, but I have it written down. I figured it out yesterday.
Yeah. Again, there's to be no cost on the dams because they're county property, and we're just monitoring for them. So
So can I, the check that you signed today, can I
that one's okay. Yeah.
send that to him? Okay.
Other than that, we're gonna have to go through all the details.
Are we locked in with this gentleman? Or is there other possibilities of having somebody else replace him that doesn't create such turmoil as far as determining how much is going to get paid and
Yeah,
end of the year bonuses or
there's
incentives and
I think Bob got rid of those before because we looked at the contract and said this is nuts. So basically we were going to pay him by the quarter, and then any time he missed, we were going to cover their pay out of his pay. It would just get deducted from his. The whole 10 would be right there for him on a quarterly basis, minus any other pay that went out for somebody else.
Carol and I met with Alex a couple months ago, and I think we need to readdress the contract that he signed
Sure, yeah.
way back when. Because I'm not,
Because the current one has the incentive in July. It was always at the end of the year.
and I'm not in favor of, we're paying him to do a job.
Agreed. So let's look at the contract and come back to the next meeting and see what we
Well,
got
let's
there.
take
In
a
the
look.
meantime, I'll go back and look at the history, see if we can figure it out. It'll be a little forensic accounting, but we'll go try and get it figured out. We don't need any action on that yet, but we'll come back with something. But he does this on a daily basis, and he does
Right.
monitor it, so, and then Brad oversees it, and when Brad fills in for him, Brad gets paid for it.
I understand that.
But, yeah, trying to read that other contract, it was kind of strange. I had a rough time understanding it.
Well, that might lock into number 18 too, as far as consulting Bill to maybe help create something that would be appropriate for Tri-Lakes and Alex at the same time.
Not a bad idea.
Carl?
Yeah.
Can I back up? I've got the motion to approve the minutes,
Yeah.
but the vouchers, I didn't get the
No.
first and
Did we
second.
not?
No.
I don't believe we did.
I apologize. I got it checked
Move
off.
to make, approve the
Go ahead.
vouchers.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Sorry about that. I had it checked. All right, we'll come back to the board with some information, at least see what we got going. It's not a bad idea with Bill. Number 18, discussion and possible action, engage Bill O'Connor as the Tri-Lakes attorney. Bill was our attorney from way back when. I dealt with him a lot when I first got on the board to cover issues. Very intelligent person. He helped write most of the laws that govern us under Statute 33. I don't know what his current rate is, and he's in New Zealand at the moment. But our rate with Mary Beth was $350, and the last rate we had with Bill was $350. I would assume it might be up a little bit. The nice thing about that is when you call Bill, he doesn't have to do any research. He'll give you the answer right then and there, pretty much. That's what I experienced before. He's also training another person. He's mentoring another lawyer. He is a lawyer. He's not a student. He did the same thing with Mary Beth, and we saw the results there. She was outstanding. But he's doing that with the other attorney. So if there's any lookup work to do, he'll assign it to his attorney, his protege, I guess it will, and it'll be a much lower rate. Usually it's around 180 to 200, somewhere in that range. So my recommendation is put Bill back on since he's back from New Zealand, but he'll be there for 2 more weeks.
Do you need a vote on that?
Yeah, we do. Just to be, just to cover ourselves, yeah.
Then I'll make a motion to engage Bill O'Connor as the Tri-Lakes attorney.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Discussion and possible action, review bids for Neo container covers. I thought I'd have more. I did get a bid so far from BDT. I was pleasantly surprised, actually, at what we've seen before, 905. Dan called me from BDT, and he says he thinks he can do it even better. This is the initial thing. He said he'd probably make it a little simpler. We do have the information out to Gulzal, and they were real excited about it. They've got a guy that's all he does is fabrication. They're looking at doing aluminum, and then get it for another outfit, Fuller Mechanical in the Rapids. Mike's going to try and get a machine out to them, and then I got one more to talk to and see if we can get another bid going. So this is a far cry from what we were looking at originally, much more realistic. So hopefully we'll have more information when we come back.
Are these Carl, these companies gonna, show us exactly what the container's gonna look like?
Yeah.
Not just a drawing on a piece of paper, but
Prototype?
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
prototype.
Gulzal he's going to make up a mock-up. He's going to make one up. He said probably out of steel, but eventually he wants to build them out of aluminum.
what about BDT?
He's going to actually do something for me. I got to talk to him in person. I sent him an email back, said, we're open to anything on these. If he's got a better design, different one, we'll take a look at it. So,
But I'd actually like to see what the container's gonna look like.
yeah, I'll check with Dan, see if he's got a drawing on it yet. I think Fuller's going to do the same thing. They're going to come up with a drawing on it. So a little better than mine, much better than mine, actually. So we don't need to do anything on it yet, but it's looking promising. None of them had an issue with timelines at this point. Once they get into spring, they start getting busier on other things, so we'll get there. Discussion of possible action, 20 units delivered, an additional storage container, and possible extension of current container. Talking to Chris, it appears that they may have sold our machines, which is fine. We didn't really want them because we were expecting to put them in much sooner. So he needs a lead time. So I told him we don't really need to take anything right now. We'll leave the other 20 if they're made out in California. If they're not made, we'll give them a heads up on when we're ready to go with the rest of them. So nothing to do on that one. We're gonna keep saving some funds on that. So
I think we're gonna have to extend the contract for the storage container out the office.
we were talking about going to June on that, right?
I'm gonna have to look at the contract.
I think it was April. You had it set to April, wasn't it?
I think till April, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anything else? Anybody have anything on 20? Questions? All right. Dates and items for future agenda number 21. Next agenda items. Suggestions?
March 19th for the next date.
Does that work with everybody?
I'll be on vacation,
Yeah,
and I don't know if Brad will be back by then yet, so if you wanna hold that date, or if you wanna maybe make it the week after. But yeah, I'll be gone.
okay. I'll check with Brad and see. He got back to me on this one, so he's got coverage of phones or something, so I guess we'll find out. All right, can I get a motion for adjournment?
So move.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Second by...